All right. I would like to also remind everyone there is a link in the class announcement where you can follow mini lectures, mini sessions that I put together as online workshops previously done, and a couple of them are about graphing and finding the slope, and exactly the problem that you're working on right now is already there. I also suggest that you view these mini sessions. They're organized by topics, and that could definitely help you with reviewing some of these topics that you're studying. So let's take a look at the first question here. We have a line contains the following 2 points. We want to calculate the slope. Now, first of all, we need to know the formula for the slope. Let's start with that. Slope, or it's also referred to as m, is equal to. Now, anybody knows what can go at the top of this? What goes at the top of the equation here? Okay, that the top goes as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that's the formula that you need to know to find the slope. Now, as you see, to do this, we need a couple of points, and those points are given to us. Doesn't matter which one of these 2 points that we have, you want to call it point 1, and which one you want to call it point 2. So if I simply assume that the first point that is given to me is point 1, and the second point I assume to be point 2, then the first number here corresponds to x1, and the second number in the parentheses in the order pair correspond to y1, and for the second point, 2 correspond to x2, and 5 correspond to y2. You can pick either of these 2 points to be point 1 or 2. You just have to be careful when you pick any of these point 1. The first number in the order pair in the parentheses corresponds to x1, and the second number corresponds to y1. Now, if I can see a check mark next to your name, if everybody can follow all that so far. Then Michelle, you just say okay, very good. Melini, if you can hear me, put the check mark next to your name. Okay. Okay, Maria and Lilini, I asked you to enter your full name in the chat room because I'm taking attendance also as we go on with this session. Please do so. All right, so we will do okay with finding the slope. So let's the formula. So let's go ahead and substitute these numbers and tell me what would be the slope. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with Patrick at the top. Patrick, tell me what would be m, or slope would be equal to if I put this number here, substitute these numbers here. So while Patrick giving us the number for the slope, we'll proceed with this. So y2 in this case is 5 minus y1 is 3, x2 is 2, and x1 is minus 1. All right, I'm waiting for Patrick Adams to give me the answer. What do you get? Okay, I don't get any response from Patrick. So Daisy, you want to tell me what do you get for the slope? Okay, I lost Daisy. Nia, I didn't get your. I know Daisy's gone. Okay. I didn't get any response from Liliani. I guess I'm assuming she's not there either. Maria, you want to tell me what is your? I see Roberto put the answer to. Roberto says 2/3, and Renee says minus. Maria says 2 over minus 3. Well, the answer is right in front of you. What is the, Maria, look at it carefully. 5 at the top of the fraction, we have 5 minus 3, so that would be 2. And then here we have 2 minus minus 1. 2 minus minus 1 is the same as 2 plus 1. When you subtract integers, you change subtraction to addition, and you change the second number to its opposite number. So it would be 2 plus 1 would be 3. So it looks like the slope, as Roberto said, is 2/3. Okay. Now, can I see a check mark next to everyone's name? If you can follow this so far, how to find the slope, and we know 2 points, we should be able to just simply follow the formula to find the slope. Okay, Roberto, you have a question? Liliani, I see you're there. I asked you to enter your full name in the chat box because I don't see your full name. I need that for attendance, please. Okay, what is the question, Roberto typing the question. Liliani, I need your full name, and Roberto asking the question. Now, while Roberto putting the question up here, you can, we're going to look at the next one. Okay, here goes the question. Okay, Roberto says, why when the results are negative, they turn positive? Well, the results never turns negative here. What we have at the bottom of the fraction is 2 minus minus 1. 2 minus minus 1 is when you're subtracting two integers, you change the subtraction to addition, and then you change the second number to its opposite number. So 2 minus minus 1 is the same as 2 plus plus 1, which is 2 plus plus 1 is 3. So the answer always been positive, 2/3. Roberto, do you see that? Okay, if you're talking about the different problems, we can look at it in a moment if you have the problem with you. But let's concentrate on finishing this one for right now. You certainly can bring up that as the next question. But let's go ahead and take a look at this question. Everybody okay? It looks like that to find the slope. Now we have to write the equation in the slope-intercept form. All right. So what we have so far is the slope and 2 points. The information that we have are slope and 2 points. So let's take a look at this. So far we have slope we find is equal to 2/3, and we also have 2 points was given to us. And I can label these points any way I want. Originally, I labeled the first one as point 1 and the second one as point 2 to find the slope using the formula. But right now, just call it point P. I'm going to label them in a moment. But we're talking about the slope-intercept form. Let's start with all right, Patrick at the top of the list. Can you tell me what is the formula for slope-intercept form? If you don't know the answer, just put X next to your name so I can move on quickly. If you know the answer, okay. Next, Liliani. If you don't know the answer, put the X next to your name. Liliani, I still didn't get your full name in the chat box. I need that for attendance. All right, okay, Renee already gave us the answer. Y is equal to mx plus b. That is correct. So you should remember this formula as being the slope-intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b. Please make a note of that. You need to know this formula for the next exam and also for the final exam. Now the reason we call it slope-intercept is because m here corresponds to the slope, and this number b corresponds to the y-intercept, where your line going to passes through the y-axis. So that's why we call it slope-intercept formula. Okay, Liliana, you're asking me a question. Okay, where you just entered your text, just go ahead and type your full name for me in the chat box. That's all I'm asking you to do. And next time when you log in, not full name, first name plus last name. And next time when you enter the room, they ask you for the screen name, just go ahead and enter your full name as a screen name, so you don't have to keep asking everyone about their name. You see some of the students already entered their full name as a screen name. Thank you. That way, because I do give credit now for you attending these sessions, and I need to take attendance carefully. All right, so y is equal to mx plus b. I want to see a check mark next to your name if you can remember. If you can remember this formula for the next exam as being the slope-intercept formula. It's a very important formula that you need to know for next test. So put the check mark next to your name if you all okay with this. Michelle, you said you cannot put a check mark for some reason. You just put yes then. Okay, now Michelle says the y-intercept would be the 2 over third. No, the y-intercept is where your line is going to pass through y-axis and is unknown at this point. We don't know that. That's what we have to solve for right now. We don't know the y-intercept. We know the slope, or m, is 2/3. That's all we know so far. Very good. All right, so let's go ahead and fill out this formula with what's given to us. Now I'm going to pick one of these 2 points, doesn't matter which one. I'm going to call it point P this time instead of call it point P1 or P2. So I'm going to pick the first point here and call that point P. And if I do that, the first number here corresponds to X, and the second number in the order pair would correspond to Y. Now again, recall on the previous problem, I called the same point 1, then the first number in the order pair corresponded to X1, and the second number corresponds to Y1. But now I'm just going to simply call it point P and call it X and Y because that's what I have in this formula. So you can call these given points anything you want, P1, P2, P3, or P, and then accordingly you label these numbers inside the parentheses as an order pair, X, X1, and so on. So in this case, for Y, I'm going to substitute 3. And for the slope, I'm going to substitute 2/3. I find it previously. And for the X, I'm going to substitute that -1/1 because it was 1, -1 earlier, and then plus B. So I have to solve for B here. Solve for B or Y-intercept. Now, if you all can follow up till this point, I want you to put a check mark next to your name, please. Very good. Michelle, you said okay. Thank you. All right. Now, I'm going to turn this question from top to bottom again. Patrick, can you tell me what would be B is equal to? If you don't know how to solve for B, put the X next to your name. But you should be able to solve for B now. You said no. I want you to try solving for B. This is a very simple equation. Let's go to the next person in the list. Liliani, what do you think B would be if you solve for B? If you don't know how to solve it, put the X next to your name. How about Maria? What do you think the B is equal to? If you don't know, okay. If you don't know, just everybody put the X to your name. If you don't know how to solve for B at this point. If you think you know, put the check mark so I can ask you. Renee, what's your question? You said reciprocal. Okay. Michelle, you're working it out. Very good. All right, you have to work this out. So let me start going. How about Roberto? You didn't say anything. Roberto, are you working it out, or you don't know? You're working. Very good. Okay. The rest of you said you don't know. Let's take a look at this. Now we have 3 is equal to 2/3 times -1/1 would be -2/3 then. Plus B. That's the first step. And then to solve for B, we have to isolate B, so we have to add 2/3 to both sides of the equation. Right? You're just solving a simple equation. Add 2/3 to both sides of the equation. Those of you who put the X next to your name, you should be able to follow this now. So now we have 3 plus 2/3 on the left-hand side of the equation. On the right side of the equation, you would get simply B. That's what the B is equal to. So far I found B is equal to 3 or 3/1 plus 2/3. Okay, can I see a check mark next to everyone's name if you can follow up till this point? Up till this point. Especially those of you who put the X next to your name earlier, I want to see either check mark or still X if you don't follow it. Okay, Michelle says okay. Patrick, you say you still don't follow it. Liliana, you're okay. All right. Now I'm going to write this down. 3 is equal to 2/3 times minus 1 over 1 plus b. Now, this question is for Patrick. You said you still don't follow it. Can you tell me if you're okay up till this point then? Well, I see your mark, your name change. You change your mark. So let me understand this. Do you, Patrick? Do you understand up till this point where I put the star with a check mark or X? If not, I'm going. Okay, good. So you follow. Everybody follow up to this point. That's all I'm doing here is substituting for every y here. From the given point, its corresponding value in terms of x and y. For every y, I'm substituting 3, and for every x, I'm substituting minus 1 here, minus 1, and then I know the slope is 2/3. I'm substituting here. I'm just solving for b. As you see, I have 3 equal to minus 2/3 plus b. I'm adding 2/3 to both sides of the equation, and I get 3 plus 2/3 equal to b. Now to solve for b here. Now let me ask from top of the list again, Patrick, can you tell me what b is equal to now? Okay, Daisy, you got disconnected and you're back. I need to know, Patrick, can you tell me what b is equal to now? Again, put the X mark or check mark so I know, everybody know how to. It's just adding fractions now, right? Okay, actually, everybody put a check mark next to your name if you can tell me what b is. Okay, so Patrick, tell me what b is equal to. Okay, we have to find the LCD, right? What's LCD here? LCD between 1 and 3. LCD is 3. Okay, so it means we have to multiply the first fraction with 3 over 3. Okay, Patrick, I'm still waiting for your answer. Okay, so we have 9 over 3 plus 2 over 3. Okay, Patrick, can you tell me what's the answer? Nine plus 2 is 11 over 3. Okay, I didn't get any response from you, Patrick, throughout this question. Do you follow that now? Okay, everybody put a check box next to your name now if you can find the y-intercept then using this method so far. Okay, Daisy, are you okay so far? How to find the y-intercept? If you don't follow it still, just put the X next to your name so we can talk about this more. Okay, Michelle, you said you're okay. Okay. Looks like video alright. Okay. Okay. Michelle asking about looking at 3 plus 2/3. I can just combine them differently. However, you add 3 plus 2/3, it's fine as long as you get 11/3. You don't have to change it to the mixed number. It's okay. So Daisy is saying y is equal to mx plus b is a formula. Yes, y is equal to mx plus b is something that you have to remember for the next exam. Every time you are doing a problem that is related to writing the equation of the line, you can start with this one if you're using slope-intercept formula. There's another formula that we're going to look at later would give us the same answer, but for right now I want to make sure that you can follow all the steps here. And Maria asking a question here. Okay, now Maria's asking when we get to this point here, 3 is equal to 2/3 or minus 2/3 plus b, this point here. She's asking that once we get to that, why we are adding 2/3 and we are not multiplying by the reciprocal. That's the question. Well, this is, let me open a new page to explain that to Maria. I guess you're having a problem after this step here. 3 is equal to minus 2/3 plus b. In order to solve for b, you have to eliminate minus 2/3. Let me write down another equation right next to this, and that should help you to see this. If I had 3 is equal to minus 2/3 times b, this is where you multiply by reciprocal. When the number multiply the variable, then you have to multiply both sides by reciprocal when you have a coefficient like this. At this case, you would multiply both sides by -3/2 and proceed. That's what you were thinking. Whereas when you have a number adding or subtracting a variable, then to eliminate that, then you would add or subtract that from both sides of the equation. So in this case, you're absolutely right. You multiply by reciprocal if the number multiplies a variable. You want to get a coefficient of 1 here, so b would be equal to, in this case, 9/2. But that's not what we have here. Here we have a number adding. So in order to eliminate minus 2/3, I have to add 2/3 to both sides of the equation. If instead of minus 2/3 I had just 2/3, then I would subtract 2/3 from both sides of the equation in order to isolate b. So in this case, I would have 3 plus 2/3 is equal to B. Maria, do you follow that so far? Okay, so Maria is saying the variable is what determines whether to add, subtract, or multiply. Well, what determines that is really is the number, if it's adding or subtracting. If the number adding the variable, then you have to add or subtract the number to eliminate 2/3. But if the number is multiplying the variable, then you have to multiply both sides by its reciprocal in order to eliminate that. Do you follow that? Okay, you see it, now you see it. Excellent. Okay, so once we get up to this point, then you should know that we have 3/1 plus 2/3, and this is simply adding two fractions, and you should know the LCD is 3, and then you multiply both sides by 3/3, which is 1. You're not changing the value of the first fraction, we're just changing the look of that. So here I would get 9/3 plus 2/3, which is 11/3. And then this is what we have for the B. Okay, can I see a check mark next to everyone's name if you can follow up till this point as how to find B then? Okay, very good. And Michelle responded okay. Daisy, I don't see any response from you. Do you follow that so far? I know you got disconnected and you got back to the forum again, and you may have still a problem. Are you okay? All right, good. Now let's go back and see what we're trying to do. We're trying to write the equation of the line now. Now let's list all the items that we have so far for this. So far I know the slope, which is 2/3. Now I know the y-intercept is 11/3, and let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. So far I know my slope is equal to 2/3, and now I found my y-intercept being 11/3. Now to write the equation of the line, remember what we were trying to do earlier. Let's read the question. It says write the equation in a slope-intercept form. That's what we're trying to do. So we have so far a slope and y-intercept. So we write y is equal to mx plus b. So y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11/3, and that is the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Okay, can I see a check mark next to your name if you can follow that? We answered part B. Okay, Michelle already responded. Roberto, good. Now, if I ask you to write the final answer in a standard form, can somebody tell me what the standard form would look like? Anybody know the standard form? This is slope-intercept form. What would be the standard form? Okay, if you know it, put the check mark next to your name. If you don't know, just put the X next to your name quickly so I know how many of you know that. Standard form. Again, remind you that you should be following the class assignments according to the class calendar. So take a look at the class calendar carefully and see what chapter you should be done with. And you should be done with the lecture notes up till that point for this week. And I think some of the stuff you're working on right now is already on that week. So some of you, I understand you're behind. But you need to catch up. Then it's very important to maybe spend more time for this week to catch up, because the test is coming up soon. All right, Daisy, I don't see anything in front of your name, so I don't know if you said you don't know either. Okay. Michelle, you don't know. Renee, you're saying slope. No, standard form is AX, everybody please write this down, plus BY is equal to C. This is also a general equation of the straight line, except in different form. It's called general form or standard form. So if I want to rewrite this equation in that form, what do I have to do? I need to move both X and Y to one side of the equation, in this case to the left side, right? So if I subtract 2/3 from both sides of the equation, I would get minus 2/3 X plus Y is equal to 11/3. And then when you write in the standard form, you don't want to have any fraction for the coefficient. So you need to multiply each term by 3 to eliminate the fraction. So you get minus 2x plus 3y is equal to 11. And that is the standard form. If somebody asks you to write the final answer in standard form, that's what they mean. Because you might get these questions for the final exam, which come from the department, and they may ask you to write the final answer in the standard form, not slope-intercept form. So you should know what it is. Can I see a check box next to your name if you can follow this? Okay, I just multiply each term by 3/1 to eliminate the fractions, because when you write in standard form, A, B, and C should be integers. You shouldn't have any fraction there. So if I multiply each term by 3/1, okay, that's what we get. I'm getting more questions. Maria saying Y2, where did that come from? Wasn't the 2 positive? Okay, well, let me go over this in more steps, make sure we can follow it. Look, we have y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11/3. This is in slope-intercept form, which everybody got that part. Now, in order to write in standard form, I have to subtract 2/3 x from both sides of the equation, so I can move the 2/3 x to the left. That's what we're doing. All right. If I do that, I would get on the left-hand side minus 2/3 x plus y is equal to 11/3. Okay, Daisy, it looks like you have a question. And I'm getting Maria, you say you're okay now. Okay, Renee, you're saying that anything left of the equation sign is negative, and Daisy says you got cut off. Yeah, whatever you missed, you can view that, Daisy, later after the session. So let's concentrate on what we're doing now. So let me make sure we can follow this. So everybody okay up till this point here? Can you put a check mark next to your name? You're trying to write this in standard form. And then at this point, we need to multiply each term by 3, or 3/1, to get it into standard form. 3/1. 3/1, 3/1. You're multiplying each term by that. So the first one is minus 2/3 x plus 3/1 times y and times 11 over 3. That's what we're doing. And when we reduce, we get this standard form. All right, looks like everybody okay with that. Great. And I see somebody just walked into the room. As I said, I'm taking attendance as you entering the room. It's because you get credit for these sessions now. This could be extra credit. And I need the full name again. When you log in, when you put your screen name, put the full name. For right now, this Shannon Hopper, is that, if you put a space next time, I know I can see your name, please your name better, that's good. You put a space in between. All right, good. Now, Shannon, you also need to review this, what you missed so far, once I release the archive in the class announcement. So everybody okay with writing the equation of the line? Now I want to show you one more thing here. There's another equation that you can use to write the equation of the line. As you see here, we use the Slope-Intercept Form right here. What we're going to do is look at the other form. Daisy, you have a question? Go ahead, type your question. And I'm going to write down the other formula. Everybody write this down. The other formula that you could use to write the write the equation of the line. And I'm going to write that now. Daisy, you said you have to leave. If you have to leave, that's fine. Make sure you view the archive. And also, when you come to the next session, please be prepared to ask questions from take-home test or sample final. Make sure everybody print the sample final, which are already posted in class, and start working the problems that you're studying on those topics, so you prepare for final as we move on with this course. So let's go ahead and write down the formula. Instead of y is equal to mx plus b, we could use y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. This is also a general equation of the straight line, but the information is a little different. You still know slope for this formula, but right now we know x1 and y1. x1 and y1 correspond to what? Can somebody tell me what x1 and y1 correspond to? We talked about this earlier. x1 and y1 correspond to what? Okay, if you don't know, put the x next to your name. If you know, just go ahead and type your answer. Okay, Renee says intercept. No, B was intercept. Remember, B was y-intercept. We had the other equation. We had y is equal to mx plus b. B was intercept. That's what we call it, the slope-intercept form. Okay, can you quickly everyone put the x next to your name if you don't know what x1 and y1 stands for, or if you know it. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the previous page, see if you can see it. Well, where we talk about x1 and y1. Let's see. This is where we find the very first thing we did. We said x1 and y1 right here. This is right here. That's where we talked about x1 and y1. What does x1 and y1 correspond to? A point. Very good. A point. Correspond to a point. So x1 and y1, everywhere we see x1 and y1 correspond to a point. So this formula that we have, a new formula you also have to remember, is this corresponds to a point. That's why this formula is known as point-slope formula, because the information that we know on this one is a point, which is x1 and y1, and the slope. Now, if we're going to use this formula to write the equation of the line for the same problem, let's see what we know. We know the slope already. We already figured out the slope is 2/3. And we also know a point was begin with was given to us. They were given to us 2 points actually. I can use any of those 2 points for using this formula. So let's go ahead and take a look at this new formula that's called slope point formula and see if you get the same answer, same equation if you substitute the number in here. Now in this case, the slope again is given to us as, we found the slope actually 2/3, and 2 points was given to us. So I'm going to stick with the first point, call it point 1, and use that, -1 and 3. So I would know that the first number again is x1. This number here is y1. Okay, so let's substitute the number here. Y is part of the formula. We call it y minus. Now y1 is 3. Slope is 2/3. X is just part of the formula. Minus x1 is -1. Okay, so this is the equation of the line. Y minus 3 is equal to 2/3 times x plus 1. Okay, let me stop right here and ask everyone to put a check mark next to your name if you can follow up to this point. So if I were going to use the point slope formula to write the equation of the line, I would have to memorize, first of all, this formula, write it down on a piece of paper, just like we did with the other one. Except this one, I don't have to look for B anymore. I just have to plug the numbers, substitute the numbers for every x1 and y1. Its corresponding value is given to me, and I already found a slope is 2/3, and there I have it. Okay, now I need to write this in slope-intercept form because they specifically asked me to do that. In order to do this is I need to distribute. So I would get y minus 3 is equal to 2/3 x plus 2/3. Now I have to add 3 to both sides of the equation to eliminate the 3 here. So I would get y is equal to 2/3 x plus 2/3 plus 3/1, or 3. And again, I have to combine these two. And before I move on, can I see a check mark next to everyone's name? So if you can follow up till this point. Good. Okay. Lillian. Oh, good, Michelle. Now you know how to put a check mark next to your name. Great. All right. So everybody good on that so far. So now I have to combine this to the LC. Same calculation here. I have to multiply this by 3/3. So I can combine this. So you see, I get the exact same answer. Y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11/3. So either equation I use, I get the same exact formula here for the equation of the line. Let's go back, compare it. You get the same equation here, right there. Using the point slope formula, I get the same exact. So again, can I see a check mark next to your name if you can write the equation of the line using either point slope or slope-intercept. Either one is fine. I like slope-intercept myself. I think it requires less algebra, less calculation, to just simply treat the given point as point P and substitute that into X and Y, and the slope is known now, and then just simply quickly solve for B. But if it doesn't instruct us how to do this, you can do it either way. All right, so going back to this question, we find the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, and they're asking to find the X and Y intercept. To find the X and Y intercept, you need to let X equal to 0, solve for Y is equal to 0, solve for X, and from there you can find the X and Y intercept. So let's take a look at the equation in the form, slope-intercept form, now that we find it. We have Y is equal to 2/3 X plus 11/3. Okay, so let's write down the steps here. To find the X-intercept, let's find Y-intercept first, and then we find X-intercept. To find Y-intercept, let X be equal to 0 and solve for Y. Okay, let's do that. In this case, we want to let X equal to 0. You can make a little chart like this. This is X, and this is Y. If I let X equal to 0, okay, Michelle saying X is equal to 0. You want to find the Y-intercept. Every time you want to find the Y-intercept, you want to know where your graph going to intercept Y-axis. That's why. So if you look at the graph here, if you have your graph like that, you want to know where your graph going to intercept Y-axis. Wherever point it is, if your graph passes through this point here, then obviously X would be 0 here. Do you see that? Okay. The point that we're going to find for the X-intercept, this point, whatever that point is, for Y-intercept, whatever that point is going to have a point like that. X would be 0, Y would be some number that we don't know. Do you agree with that? So in this case, we let X equal to 0 along this line, Y-axis, wherever it's going to be, the X location would be 0 because we're not moving on the X-axis. We're moving only on Y-axis. So because of that, you let X equal to 0, and you let X equal to 0, and you solve for Y. Solve for Y. So let's start from beginning of the list again. Patrick, can you tell me if x equal to 0 in this equation here, what is y is equal to? Okay. Liliani, can you tell me? Can you put x next to your name if you don't know how to do that, or check mark? If you think you can solve for y, if x equal to 0, put a check mark next to your name. Renee? Okay, Liliani, you said yes. What is your answer, Liliani? Okay, Liliani, you put a check mark next to your name. If x equal to 0, okay, so let's see. We have y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. You're going to let x equal to 0. So y is equal to 2/3 times x is 0 plus 11 over 3. So y is equal to, this is 0, right? 0 plus 11 over 3. So what is y is equal to? 11 over 3. And we can look at this and say, like Roberto already said, 11 over 3. But if you don't see it, you have to go through this calculation, right? So can I see a check mark next to your name if you can follow that? Y would be 11 over 3 if x equal to 0. If you still don't see it, put the x next to your name. If you see it, go ahead and put check mark next to your name, please. Okay, so will you see that? So that is your y-intercept. So if I put, and then I can actually locate that on the graph. That's where it is. 3 point something, between 3 and 4. Okay, now next question. To find the x-intercept, you do opposite of that, right? You let y be equal to 0 and solve for x. So we want to know if y is equal to 0, what is x? So this requires a little bit of calculation now. So let me give you a minute to everyone to find the x-intercept. Okay? And put up your answer here. I'm going to work it out also. So again, the equation that we have is y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. Okay, so to find, let's do the same thing here. To find the x-intercept, I'm going to let y be equal to 0 and solve for x. Okay, so we have we're going to let y be equal to 0 and solve for x. All right. so that the chart, we can make a chart out of that like we did last time. If y is equal to 0, what is x? So let's start with the equation again. X equal to 2/3, y is equal to 2/3 x plus 11 over 3. What we're going to do is we're going to substitute for each y 0 and solve for x. Okay, first of all, can I see a check mark next to everyone's name if you can follow up to this point, please? Okay, excellent. To solve for x, we need to eliminate 11 over 3. So we need to subtract 11 over 3 from both sides of the equation. Let's do that. I'm going to subtract 11 over 3. Subtract 11 over 3. So on the left hand side I have minus 11 over 3 is equal to 2/3 x. Okay, how do we solve for x now? Anybody? How do I eliminate 2/3? You multiply both sides of the equation by reciprocal, or which is what? What's reciprocal of 2/3? 3/2, right? 3 over 2. 3 over 2. You multiply both sides by reciprocal of that. So here we have 11 over 3 2/3 x. So what we have is 3/2 times minus 11 over 3 is equal to x. That is your X-intercept, which is equal to, as you see, you can reduce this 3 and this 3 turns to 1. So we have minus 11 over 2. That is the point. Can I see a check mark next to your name if you can follow how to find the X-intercept, please? Great. All right, so we have the X-intercept, we have the Y-intercept, and what else we have to find for this problem here? We find the X-intercept and Y-intercept here. Now we have to graph them. We can graph this using any 2 points, or we can use the X and Y intercept that we just found. That would be information that we already have. So we found so far when x equal to 0, y is equal to 11 over 3. When y is equal to 0, x equal to minus 11 over 2. So this is minus 11 over 2. We can locate those points to graph. So let's go ahead and find the graph. Now again, I have some mini sessions on graphing already posted in the class announcement. I would suggest that those of you have problem with graphing or need more reviews, view those sessions. It would help you. with that. So the 2 points that we already have, we can use X and Y intercept to graph this. This is X and this is Y. If X is equal to 0, Y is equal to 11 over 3. So what is 11 over 3 approximately, anyone? When you divide 3 into 11, what do we get? Like 3 point something, right? 3.6 point, yeah. So it would be between 3 and 4. So we can approximate that. We can say this is, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere around here, I would say that would be 11 over 3. This is where your graph gonna passes through. Now the second point we found is y is equal to 0, x is equal to minus 11 over 2. Okay, what is 11 over 2 approximately? 11 divided by 2, half of 11 would be 11 divided by 2, half of that is about what? Anybody? 5.5, very good. So, but go to the left side, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so right between that would be your second point. And just connect these 2 points together. That would be the graph that you were looking for. So this point would be minus 11 over 2. This is y-axis, this is x-axis, and so on. Can I see a check mark next to your name if you can follow how to graph this now?